Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mafasa's book readings. My name is Julia, and I am your reader for today. We're still on our book, The Third Alternative by Stephen R Covey. We're moving on to chapter 7 today. Chapter 7 is titled The Third Alternative in Society. It starts off with a quote by Paul Walterwick. The quote reads, "In many cases, the solution lies in coming to realization that there actually is an absence of choice, that one is in fact not being presented with any real alternatives. If real change is to occur, one will have to step outside the framework itself and find the third alternative." I'll start with the reading. "The tough challenges that face our society are as old as the society itself. Crime, disease, poverty, war, and the spiritual and environmental pollution that breeds them. Our progress against these ancient ills is encouraging but uneven. As individuals, we might dismiss the problems of society as far above our pay grade. There's not much we can do about them, we think to ourselves, but they still affect us, and deeply. We might not be aware how deeply. Science now believes that the pain of others, no matter how remote they are from us, can literally hurt us. Social pain activates the same pain regions of the brain as physical pain. The brain is deeply social. We have massive amounts of social circuitry for our own well-being. We can't afford to tuck down our heads and ignore suffering of this round world. To paraphrase, Charles Dickens says, "Mankind is my business, the common welfare is my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, benevolence are all my business." Also, you can learn more about how to apply the third alternative thinking to your own problems by seeing it applied to social problems. Robbie McGobbin, who has worked for peace in most troubled spots in the world, believes the only difference between social conflict and personal conflict is one of scale. "I have discovered a fundamental similarity between intractable feuds among rival nations that cause so much strife in the world and the destructive personal and family struggles that affect us so deeply as individuals. While the scale and the stakes are obviously very different, the underlying process, the drama, is the same. Although we might think of our most difficult problems as private, they are usually both personal and global at the same time. Next to the scourge of war, respondents to our serious challenges survey chose eliminating poverty and unemployment, and managing the environment, land, water, air, as the most important social challenges we face. They are also concerned about crime and healthcare. Here are samples of what they had to say. Asian middle manager. The majority of our population lives in poverty classes. There is a lack of employment, poor education, infrastructure facilities are hardly available, huge debt, poor governance, and corruption is rampant. North American business executive. Poverty is so often the catalyst that leads to the anger, hate, greed, and jealousy behind wars, terror, and unemployment. Solving the poverty problem has got to be the point of greatest leverage. Latin American financial manager. It's very important to eliminate poverty in the world. Sometimes hunger makes you do ugly things in order to survive. European business person, our natural resources are finite. There is a limit to them and we are overly greedy. There won't be anything left for future generations. And for a country that rests on identity of being a beautiful landscape, it won't continue that way for long. Everyone wants to eliminate violence, hunger, disease, homelessness, and pollution. Everyone wants their children to inherit a peaceful, prosperous, and healthy world. The job to be done is clear enough, but our society is hopelessly divided on how to do that job. Two fundamentally opposed philosophies vie for votes around the world: the philosophy of the left and the philosophy of the right. Most developed nations swing uncertainly back and forth between these two wings, like a bird uneasy about which direction to fly. And the division is not shrinking, but growing. This next segment that I'm going to read is titled The Great Divide. Many thoughtful people are alarmed, in the words of Alan Greenspan, about a general schism in the society which is becoming ever more destructive. The rhetoric grows more toxic by the day. From the right wing, we hear this: liberals, can't live with them, can't shoot them. Like spoiled, angry children, they rebel against the normal responsibilities of adulthood and demand that a parental government meet their needs from cradle to grave. Liberalism is a mental illness. Liberals are charitable, all right? Charitable with other people's money. Liberalism is entirely destructive, taxing and regulating us out of business and buying votes from lazy, good-for-nothing welfare cheats. And from the left wing, we hear this: conservatives are people too. Mean, selfish, greedy people. Wherever there's a greedy boss growing filthy rich by shamelessly exploiting his employees, you'll find a gaggle of conservatives worshipping him and his godlike free market genius. Conservatives want us to remain sick, stressed, helplessly hopeless, just so their big investments in big drugs and big insurance can continue making an obscene killing. Conservatives are usually irresponsible, bigoted, staggeringly hypocritical, sad excuses for humanity. Meanwhile, as they shout abuse at each other and the decibel levels rise, the social problems they are arguing about continue to worsen. Crime and corruption run wild. The cost of health care soars. Unemployment festers. Pollution darkens the sky. The vast middle, unsure what to believe and not very hopeful, leans one way or the other every few years, thinking that just maybe this time will be different. But the ideologues seem more focused on getting and keeping power than on facing the tough challenges. Their primary goal is to create an image that sells well in the marketplace, even though it's superficial and lacking in substance, in order to get votes. So the ideologies they use to whip up passions come across as cynical. That is where today's reading will end. I think what I really learned out of this out of this reading is the fact that with separation mentioned, the second alternative thinking is evident. Because there aren't really solutions that are presented. Rather, step out of the framework to finding better solutions, not only for yourself, but for the world at large. Thank you so much for joining and tuning into today's reading. I hope to see you next time, and I'd really like to engage with you in the comment section. So I really appreciate the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.